Day 309 of Everyday Bible with Ada Ukabia. Matthew chapter 23, Luke chapter 20 and 21. As we read through Matthew chapter 23, we go see where Jesus they call out religious hypocrisy. Him they speak directly to the people of his time, and his words they speak loudly to us right up to today. Now from the first few verses, now Jesus talk about the teachers of the law and the Pharisees. Him they acknowledge, say, then they teach the scriptures correctly, Abi. Then they sit in Moses' seat. In other words, they carry authority to explain the law. But waiting Jesus can't add, they say, do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. Now, common expression where we go talk, say, do as I say, not as I do. These leaders, then they good with the words of God. Then they good to appear righteous. But their private lives, not just match their public image at all. Then they place heavy burdens on others and they give strict laws, rigid expectation, but they no go lift one finger to help anybody. Faith is not proven by how loudly we would talk or how well we would correct other people, but now how close our actions they match the teachings of Jesus. That's what they measure or prove faith. Real spiritual maturity is integrity. Now as you be in public, now so you be in private. If we can move on to verse 16 all the way down to 20, we see where Jesus speak about and they compare the gold and the temple, the gift and the altar. These religious leaders, then they teach that gold inside the temple, it should be more sacred than the temple itself. And that even the gift where people they bring to the altar, it is more important than the altar itself. So Jesus can't correct that yeah thinking. He say, the temple, now they make the gold sacred. The altar, now they give that gift any meaning we're supposed to get. This teaching, they're very powerful. Spiritual value, no, they come from the object itself, but not directly from God, where they give meaning to it. In life, we too, they fall into the same trap. Would they value the money more than the person who even provide the money for us? Would they value external achievement more than the heart where God they see? Jesus, the teacher, say, make we value the source, not just the symbol. It is not the gift, but the God behind the gift. Now I hold the true power. Checking out verse 24, where the Pharisees, then they're extremely careful about the tiny outward religious details, like making sure, say, they no accidentally swallow that small insect, the gnat, which will be considered unclean, Abi. But at the same time, these same people, then they ignore much bigger moral issues like justice, compassion, and honesty, where supposed to be the camel. So Jesus, they say, make we no focus so hard on small religious appearances. So today we go ignore the major matters of the heart. A person can look holy, but still lack love. He no stop there. Jesus continue. Now he can't talk about the whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, but filled with bones and decay inside. Many people go to wonder if the modern expression skeletons in the cupboard it come from this one. While the phrase itself now English, it developed much later. The idea they very similar to that phrase. Jesus they describe people who look holy and righteous when others are watching, but inside then they hide sin, secrets, bitterness, and impurity. The lesson they deep. True faith begins inside, in the heart, long before it will begin to show outside. God is more concerned about who we are in private than how people they see us in public. As they can't carry on, can't refer to how then they honor the tombs of the prophets and they build monuments, they decorate the graves. Ironically, these same people can't still reject Jesus Christ himself, Abi. My mind can't go to the burial of Christ. Then bury Jesus inside a borrowed tomb, not a decorated monument. And yet, that tomb became the most powerful symbol of hope in human history because Jesus rose from the dead. Meanwhile, the tombs of the Pharisees then decorate them, say, it's too beautiful, but it still contain death. The message they clear. It is not the beauty of the grave that matters, but the truth of the life behind it. Honoring past prophets means listening to God today. The last few verses of this very first book we'll read today, Jesus can describe what will happen to his disciples and his followers through persecution in the future. How them go hit them, reject them, arrest them, and even kill most of them because of their loyalty to Christ. History don't show say this one happened. These his disciples were beaten, they were imprisoned, and many of them were martyred. But they still stood firm because they had seen the truth and they don't believe in that truth. Today, standing for Christ may not always bring popularity. It may cost relationships, comfort, or approval, but the reward, the peace, the strength, the eternal life is far greater than the sacrifice. In the second book of today, that part where they talk say the religious leaders, they try to arrest Jesus, but then they fear the people. This one, they tell us something powerful, say true influence, true leadership, and even true democracy, they rest with the people, not with the powerful. The leaders know say their authority only remained valid as long as the people accepted it. And this is still true today. Every community, every nation, every church, the heartbeat now the people. When the people awaken, corruption will lose its grip. The crowd in Jesus' day, they recognize truth, and their awareness alone now restrain those oppressors. Then Jesus can't confront them with a tricky question. So as they try to confuse and trap Jesus, Jesus can't reveal a deep truth. We don't mention part of it yesterday. Marriage, as we know, now earthly institution. Yes, Christ or the Lord himself is involved. In the ancient Israel, then link marriage to inheritance rights and family lineage. It helped to preserve order among those 12 tribes. But in eternity, in heaven, those constraints no longer exist. So Jesus did teach that in the resurrection, we will become like the angels, alive in God's presence, beyond the need for earthly systems. That one means say heaven is not just earth continued, it is life transformed. When we can enter the next chapter, chapter 21, we can check verse 9, where Jesus they talk about when we hear wars and uprising, make no fear. This one they hit home. If you check news, the headlines are just filled with conflict, disaster, and fear, and all sorts of persecutions. But Jesus, they tell us something very important. Fear is not meant to be our response to chaos. Fear will blind us. Fear will steal clarity from us. When the world, they look like, say, they're unstable, we are called to be steady and to remain rooted in God, not shaken by every disturbance where they are around the world. When we can move on to verse 18, Jesus can there reassure his followers. He say, not a hair of your head will perish. As I just hear that one, say hair of your head will perish, it just remind me of fire, being in hell and your hair will just be burn. It not just mean say we not go ever experience hardship. Instead, it means say our soul, our identity, our eternal life is secured in the hands of God. What you are in God cannot be destroyed. It not just mean say we not go ever experience hardship. Instead, it means say our soul, our identity, our eternal life is secured in the hands of God. What you are in God cannot be destroyed. As I can enter verse 21, read about let those in the country not enter the city. My mind just goes straight to the wife of Lot. You know, say she looked back at Sodom. And when she looked back, she turned to pillar of salt, Abi. Looking back was not just out of curiosity. It is symbolized attachment to that place where they say make you come out. Sometimes God, they call us to move forward, to leave the familiar behind. But when we hold on to what God is calling us out of, we endanger our own progress. Some seasons in our life must end. Some doors must close. In verse 33, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. That's a bold claim. Everything we would they consider say they permanent, even the sky above and the ground beneath our feet, all of them are temporary. But the truth, God's truth, they always endure. The thing where God speak is never tied to time, is never tied to culture, is never tied to circumstance.